Hi, welcome back in another sheet metal workshop video, and in this video I'm gonna show you how to make a valve box, actually a standing valve box with a cover with a crimping edge on it. It's made out of two halves, it's made out of aluminium, and well, I'm gonna show you the whole process from the beginning until the finishing. Maybe I'm gonna show also some different details, but that's the box we're going to make, and I hope you like enjoying watching this video. Okay, well, let's get started. Now, first what we're going to do, we're gonna measure up first. I'm gonna show you just also some small details about the drawing of a box. Okay, the next thing, what I'm going to show is I'm going to draw now the box and to see if the box is standing like this. So you can draw it like this so you can look into the seam. So I'm going to draw it the same way as it is here. And put a little bit down the template. I mean, this is an extra template to make drawings. And here's the length. So this is the way we here in Germany mostly draw those boxes, and here's for the diagonals. And then we do this so they know it's a crimping cover. So this is the crimping cover. For the crimping cover we give allowance 50mm, and for the bottom cover we give normally, depends, somebody gives 10mm, somebody gives 12 or 15. I just give 10, but that all depends how someone is measured. Nothing is mentioned on the isometrics, so we normally use a standard 10mm. It's got wool pins and it's got clips with strips. Okay, now we're going to take the sizes of the box, and it's wide 250mm, 250mm. So that means from here till here, if I draw it like this, this is my one line, here and here. So here in between I have a complete length of 250, and that means one half is 125, 125. Now, the other size, the length of the box is 280mm. So 280mm. So that means this is my line. I can here so I have here 280. So now one size is left, and that is the height of the box. We have again here 300mm, almost 305, so it depends on how much allowance you give. So, but we're gonna make it also like this, so 300. So I'm gonna write here down 300. Okay, now all the information on the box we have is now ready to calculate. So we're going to calculate first the circumference of the box. So that means this half and this half of the circumference. So okay, and that is actually very easy to calculate. So 125, that's a diameter of 250. Yeah, so if you think in your mind, the circle, we have a diameter of 250 multiplied by 3.14. Wait a minute, it's not wrong. 250 multiplied by 3.14 gives us 785 millimeter for a complete circumference, but we only need a quarter. So I'm going to divide that in 4. 196 is this size from exact quarter. Now we give plus, and that's always, so always give plus 280, so it's always this size, plus 280, we have an equal size of 400. So I'm going to write it here down, of 476 millimeter. We have 476. Okay, now we have, because this is a half without any overlap, so we give on the other half, we give overlap. So at each size we give, for example, 30 millimeter overlap. That means plus 60 gives us a size of 536. Now the length, the height of the box is 300 plus 10 millimeter for the square swage, so we multiply it by 310. So this is one half and this is the second half. So now the circumference is calculated. Now the next thing is 280 plus 10. That means that these are the bottom plates. So 280 is normal size. 280, but we give 5 millimeter on each side for the beading. So plus 10, that makes 290 millimeter. Multiplied a half, so 125 plus 5 is 130, plus 30 millimeters overlap makes 160. And the cover we give 280 plus 15, that makes 310, multiplied 125 plus 50 makes 140, plus 30 millimeter overlap is 170. So these now are actually my cutting sizes. So this is the bottom and that's the cover with the crimping. Okay, now next step is, what we're going to do is we're going to cut the metal. Okay, so now the next thing is to cut. So I'm always looking what the best way is to cut it. So I can cut 2 stripes from 310 and then shorten it, and then I have actually almost got those 2 sizes, but this is exactly above 1 meter, so it's not exactly then. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut 536 first, and then split it in 2 times of 310, and then shorten one on this size, and then we will look how much metal will be left to cut the bottom and the cover. So I always look to cut in the rounding size, so when it's rounded to the rounding machine, when it comes from a coil. So 536. Okay, this is left. Good. And now 310. So now I'm gonna move it just like this and make this here on 310. That's 1. That's 2 almost. Okay, so now we have those 2 halves, and this is actually 1 half with the overlap, and one would be without overlap. So I have the short one for exactly the overlap. I already know it's 60 millimeter. So I'm just gonna move here until 60 millimeter. So, and now I have here the size, this size should be 476. So 476. That's the one with no overlap. So I already now know this side's become a swage and here is coming a swage. So I'm gonna call this box 1 and this is also box 1. So I also look how to write it. As some people write box 1 and the other metal lies like this, and he writes in the same direction. But when I know it's B1 like readable, I know it's always in the same direction, so it's always like this. Not gonna write B1 and my metal is like this. So I can read it. That's just a little trick for myself, so I always know when I write it how I read it. That's always the size when it stands. Okay, now the next cutting sizes are left. 310 by 170 and 140. So first 310. And now 170, 140, that means 310, okay, it's enough, so 170. And 140. So that's the cover, the crimping cover. And the next one, the last one, 290, that's for the bottom. I'm going to take the other metal there for what's left. $290 by 160 and 130. Okay, 160 and 130. Okay, so everything is cut now. This is the bottom. So I'm gonna B for bottom or B1, and that's the cover. Yeah, so B cover. These are just signs I use. Of course, you can use any signs or symbols for yourself. So now we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 metals. Here I have 4 in my hand, and we have here those 2. Now, a lot of people don't know, if you have aluminium and you round it in the same direction, you see it looks same, but if one metal is turned different, and if you round it then, you see, then you can really see a good difference by rounding aluminium. So it's always quality watching that you always look to round it, both metals in the same direction. That's only a small tip, okay? Now, next what we're going to do is, so we see here the box standing like this, though that means I'm not looking here in the swage. See, if I hold it like this, if I hold it like this, you're not looking in the swage, it means this is the size where the swage comes. And so I'm drawing it like this. I can also draw it in another direction. If I turn my template for boxes, I can also draw it like this, and then different. See, different direction. So when it's drawn like this, if you're sheet metal worker and you're working in the workshop, you already know that this is the side where the swage comes, so you can look in it. So these are standing boxes. You can also draw a lying box. That goes like this. See? Now I give here my sizes. 300, that would be 300. Here we had 125 and 280. So that would look like the same box, only now in a lying position. So it lies like this, for example, and there's here no crimping cover. Okay, so it's the same thing, only here you have the cover also extra. If I make a lying box, it's also good, but it's better to do this one because you have both things in it. Okay, so that means 280. So my metal is B1, looks like this. So this is here up, so here comes minus 15 swage, and I hold this one also like this, so here also minus 15 swage. Now to find the radius, I already know this part 125, so from the edge until the middle point, this part here half is 125. From here to here. Okay, that means I go 125 here, and under also 125. Okay, and by the other one we said we had overlap. Okay, I need my scratching tool, so I'm going to scratch here 30 millimeter and 1 on the overlap. Here also 30 millimeter and 1 and 10 millimeter, 30-10. The 10 is only for a little kink. Okay, good. So overlap is there. Now we have here from the beginning of the box until the end, we have 280 millimeter. So this is also a thing what is always like this. Doesn't matter which size here is. It's always this size. So it's always this size when these two parts are equal half. So if you have here different sizes, it won't work. And if you have here, for example, 125 and 150, then only one half is 280, and the other half you have to give then a difference, but that's a different story. So we said here 280 from the beginning, 280 until here. Same here, we're going to mark 280. So we have now here, this line is my radius line where I start rounding. So I give here a rounding symbol and I give here a quarter. So now I know I have to round from here until this round, a quarter rounding, a 90-degree rounding. And this is just gonna fold 90-degree. And here's coming 2 swages in it. Now, optional I can do here, because I'm gonna fold it, I'm already going to mark here a little bit in front. That's one side. And I'm going to do now the same thing on a different, on another metal. So I'm just gonna now mark this in, well, like in the opposite direction, mirrored actually. So here also 125, 280 from the overlap. Yeah, so you go from the overlap, you go 280. And same thing here, 125, 280. So now here, gonna mark it again, 1/4, and that's it. Okay, because I want to have also wool pins. Yeah, I didn't maybe mention it in front before. Yeah, there are also wool pins in the boxes. Okay, they are in, maybe not visible because of the clips, but there are wool pins in it. So if you have a puncher, that's why I know this is the one with the overlap. I'm gonna punch here some few holes for the wool pins. And here I'm just gonna punch until it doesn't go anymore. So you have also to know how much overlap you have. So the wool pins will have enough room. Okay, well, that's it now. And the next thing what we're going to do is we're going to round it. No, first the swage, but that's different. Wait a minute, we go next step. I'm sorry, I'm walking a little bit too fast. We go next step. Next step is the bottom plate. So the bottom plate, that means this one is biggest with the overlap. So when you know it's the overlap already, I do already the overlap on it. So the marker signs, I always mark at the inside of the metal, so you can see nothing outside marked. There's nothing outside marked, so it's always on the inside. And we have here, we said a radius of 125 plus 5 millimeter makes a radius of 130. Now what you can do, you can take a divider, make here 130. And now I can, from here, see, make a rounding. And that's one way to do it. Or if you're making a lot of those boxes and you have also different boxes, so you don't have the size, change your divider anymore, you just make yourself templates, you know, radius 130, and I just put it here where it comes, see, here. One and the other, so also, it's actually maybe also a little bit faster when you do it with a divider, because the divider can change size or slip. And here you just put it on the metal, and you can also do it with a marker, so it's maybe also better to see. So that is the bottom, and we do the same thing with the cover. So okay, if this is the size with the swage, I will say, then I just write here an S on it just to orientate myself. So this is the cover, here's for the one side with the swage, and then we're going to give here also 30 millimeter overlap. So now the radius is coming there, therefore we have also, again, template. I like to work with templates. It's a lot of faster, you just hold it and it's always the same size. I'm not saying a divider is also good, but like I've said, if you have different boxes with different radiuses, then you have to change the whole time the radius again. And here after a while you have maybe more like these, and it goes faster. So that is the other one for the cover. And of course the 15mm. Yeah, the 15mm from here. On the side also. Now we put them together, and for example you can now make diagonals in it, just like this here, so from corner to corner. Okay, so cover is prepared. Next thing what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it out. By the way, this is aluminium. Aluminium 088 should be 088 thickness. So just for the information. Okay, we continue. Sometimes I forget to mention. And here with these edges you just cut it, like I said, on the eye, just cut it a little bit. If you're not sure how much it is, you can also do 5.5, 5.5, and then exactly here you see in between it. That will do. Okay, now the rest I'm going to cut out by my shears, electric one. Okay, so I've cut it out, and here also I never go exactly to the end, so I always go a little bit out there, so you have always the original size. If you go further out it can be shorter, and if you go let 5mm stay, you see, like this, you will have always the original size. Now you can here also already cut out if you want the overlap, so that's also optional, you don't have to do it. Sometimes I do it, sometimes not. Sometimes there are machines, they clink it out. Okay, now so far so good. That means the next thing we step over to the machine. So what I have done already once, a weld box, and actually what I'm now going to show is a standard. So repeating it, sometimes by repeating, watching, you learn quicker. So the next thing is we're going to swage everything what there has to be swaged, so we don't change wheels necessary in between. So I have here swage wheels in it. It's swage wheel number 1, and I'm just so that will do. Okay, so the other one, the other half, I'm not going to swage because that's only overlap. And now the next thing is, before we start swaging the cover, I have to bend it a little bit on a folding machine. See, so the folding machine, you can do it both same time, and it's just a little bit. See, now it looks like this. Okay. So I'm gonna put here in a swage. Some companies making a swage, some do not make a swage, so that is also optional. I'm just gonna put in a swage, looks nicer. So that is the swage, and now we're going to give here minus 15 around. So 15, that's from the plate until the center of the upper wheel, 15mm. See? 15, and here also, oh yeah, before here. So I'm going to show you here a different way, like with the overlap. See? On this box, I made the overlap like this. Yeah. So that is one type, but now I'm going to show a different way, and that means 15, 30, 15 up, and I'm going to make a hole here above. See, that is only just a different optional way, just to show it, because I already have a box with like this. So now I'm going to show you a different way. And this becomes also the 15. Okay, now we're almost done with swaging. The next thing what we're going to do now in order is we're going to round here this quarter. So, well, almost. If you see it here, almost a little bit more. Okay, that looks like more. Okay, so it's always a little bit more better. So we have now found the radius, so the next one goes straight in it. Okay, now we have rounded. So now what we're going to do, we have here this 1 centimeter line here and here, and that is what we're going to do next on the one with the overlap. We're going to fold it a little bit, just like those diagonals on the cover we did before. Now we're going to do it on here, so maybe a little bit. So just a little bit, see? And here do the same thing on the other side. So if those wool pins get here, it won't get stuck by putting the box together. Yeah, so okay, now we go to the last step on the swaging machine, and that's those minus 15 millimeter, and where the cover comes on it. See, that's where the cover comes. That's the minus 15. You can also use a different type. It doesn't have to be a swage, or you can also leave it with just like this if you don't want it, but it's optional. It looks nicer, so I'm used to it. Put in a swage. So now we go from the plate until the edge from the starting wheel here under here, this edge here, 15 millimeter. Okay, so when we do that, and now I measure. See, I have until my swage here 15 millimeter, and from center it's almost 19, I would say. Okay, well, 15 millimeter, that is one half, second half. Oh, wrong side. Sorry guys, happened. You see, it happens. Okay, it happens. Now when it happens something like this, well, the only thing what to do is put in flat wheels and correct it. Yeah, I was a little bit too fast, so I'm gonna change those wheels really quick. Okay, the flat swage wheels are in it, so which one is it? Okay, it happened. Sometimes it happens. I don't want to make a new half, so I'm just gonna correct it. See, still will leave a little bit mark, but but once we go with the other wheel later, it will not be noticeable. Okay, so the next thing what we're going to do is now here is to put in the square wheels. Yes, we're going to put in the square wheels. There is the square wheels, or this one. So okay, and the square wheels, we're going to set up the square wheels as they look like this in the machine. So we go a little bit out of the middle, you see, something like this here. That's the setup we're going to use. And also from the plate until the end of the square wheel, well, I will have here 18 millimeters on my machine here. 18 millimeters. Okay. Now before we go through the square wheels, because this is aluminium, it can happen if I go here with my square wheels and I have to fold it later, that the edge can break. Because it's aluminium, you don't know, it happens. You can do nothing about it. Yeah, well, you can do something about it. And that something is, for example, you already folded a little bit in front, you know. So, just folding it, maybe 30 degrees is enough. See? So that's actually, I only do with aluminium, just to be sure it won't break. Okay. Here also, so I'm giving almost 30 degrees or a little bit more. Okay. And now we can go to the machine with the square wheels. Now it's important not to go too deep. Okay, this is the first time. Second time. And here last time. See, so this is actually enough. And now optional, if I want to, 1, 2.5, I can go a little bit more. And so a little bit bring it down. This is also optional, you don't have to do it. Okay, now that is one half. The second half I didn't do anything here out there, so if you've watched the video from the start, you have seen I have punched in a hole in this one, and in this one I don't do it, because there are different ways and many ways to do. And the last time. So 3 times, 3 rounds. Okay, so we go back to the folding machine. So I can fold it also like this here. See here. See, and the edge didn't break. Like I've said, if you fold it in front, like here, the chances that is a little bit lesser that it breaks. As I do it like this. If you do it in front, you're mostly safe, but depends. Someone who works a lot with aluminum already knows, but for those newcomers who, oh, yes, here I forgot, almost forgot, you see. So here, if you don't want to if you don't want to punch it, you can take your pinch and squeeze it here a little bit here in, see? Just squeeze it and then fold it. I almost forgot. And now you fold it. And now you see it looks like this. Okay, so now half of the box is almost done. Okay, the circumference is done. So let's get further now with the cover plate and the bottom plate. Now for the cover plate we're going to use these bead wheels. So we're going to put them, set them up actually like here, like this. So a little bit. So this is the setup. What I'm going to do, this machine here. Okay, once the wheels are set up, I have here only from the plate until the under edge, well, we have 2 millimeters. So this one goes, you know, until it stops. So here's the stopping point. That's far enough for aluminium. So if you're not sure, we're gonna make a test run. Well, it seems maybe a little bit too big, but it's okay actually. So inside is 4 millimeter and the outside is 5, so it's actually the size we need. Okay, now these are the bottom plates. We have set the textures in the inside, so that means I have to turn them. So here I didn't do a swage. Now that also depends. Normally we in Germany don't put swages in the underwheel. Also not every time on the cover, it depends. So now we're going to go once through the machine. See? Go a little bit slower. The second time I hold it more than 45 degrees. See, and now here. That's one. The other one. And this one. Okay, now the bottom plates are done. Next thing what we're going to do is we're going now to close them down with the we're connecting with the circumference of the box. We're going to close them up. Okay, so this is the one. See how this edge now is? It's the one I did with the puncher, with this tool, and this edge is here. We just squeeze it here with. So these are just two different types. You can do it. So now I'm gonna put it here in. See, I can use here my pinchers. Squeeze it. Like this. Here also. Yeah, so that's one way, or you put it here and we're going to squeeze it with the machine. Okay, so now we go back to the machine. Okay, so we're gonna loose here back and we go a little bit to the front until the end of the underwheel, so they are now exactly on each other. and because we have here 1, 2 and 3 materials, that's almost 3 millimeters, so a little bit, so in between 2 and 3, 2.5, 3 millimeter. So now you can squeeze it, go a little bit backwards. Oh. Yeah, that's the one I have corrected, and here I'm just gonna push it in. So now it looks like this. Now this already we have already squeezed. You can also do it with other wheels, for example. I don't have to do it with these, so I also like to show it with, for example, the flat wheel down and the number 1 up. It's also a good combination. So okay, so we have now put here, like I've said, same thing on each other, also a little bit air in between. So this is just a different method, only with different wheels. I mean, it's the same thing, okay. So this is maybe a little bit too much, you have to go. Okay, well here the center wheel comes until the edge, so a little bit comes over it. Okay, now we have to move this plate a little bit more. Okay, goes also very good. Okay, and then, like always, the edge here. So this is now so far. Okay, now we go in the last part, and that is the crimping cover we're gonna put on it. So next thing is crimping wheels. It's exactly 50 millimeter. So these one we're going to put on. Okay, these are back and the crimping wheels are on. So what we do next? Oh yeah, they are 15. Yeah. So from the plate until the outside edge of the wheel, under wheel, is 15. They are both same distance. Okay, so what we go now, we just give him here a light here also. Okay, now we're going to fold these both sides 90 degree. Yeah, so it looks like this. This also. Okay, now back to the crimping wheels. Now this is the part we're going to crimp, so I'm going to slow it a little bit down. See, here you go a little bit slow, and then you go back. Okay, that's it. One. Same thing with the other side. And same thing on the other cover part. So that's it. Now, this is optional, you don't have to do it. Sometimes I put also this here through the machine. It's optional, you don't have to do it. Because if you have a lot of boxes, it takes also time, but just wanted to show it's possible. I have seen people doing it, I have also done it by myself. I don't do it always, it depends. Yeah, so this is optional, you don't have to do it. Okay, now let's put the cover on and then will we go further with the wool pins. Okay, now we're continuing putting on here these two. So what I always do, I already punch holes in front. Also optional, you don't have to do it, you can drill it straight away, but I like those holes to have in front because you won't slip with your drill. Can happen, you know, you slip out. Here also. Okay, now we have here the overlap from 30 millimeter. See, I'm gonna cut it out, and then, I mean, this is just a different, another method, another possibility, and then I cut it here. See, it's an overlap. This also optional, you don't have to do it. It all depends. I have worked in workshops, they wanted to have it like this way, and in other workshops, you know, they did it done like this. It's the same thing, only here I drill it on the side, and here I drill it exactly here in, and do the same thing with this. So it's actually the same, only this is on top and this is from the side. So these are just possibilities I show. Everybody has to decide for himself what method or what he likes or not. I mean, it's extra work or not. Okay, good. So next thing what I'm going to do, so I'm going to drill and put in also some pop needs in it. So I mark it here, and then only a little bit, see, a little bit, almost a half hole. So there was a point, spot, and now Here also. That means just gonna cut it a little bit like this. Huh? Here we have also something. May have a file. This one you cut like this. I do it. You can also move it completely, but so you have a little bit overlap left. So now the next thing what we need are those wool pins. We need 8 pieces of it, 4 in each half. So I'm gonna cut now wool pins, 160 millimeter long, and going to go to the galantine. Okay, we're back on the galantine, and for example, I need some wool pins. So I can take this here, and I wanted to have it maybe, so for this small box, 160 millimeters. Then once, there you go, here. That's the way wool pins are being cut. Okay, I only need 8 pieces. So, I've collected those wool pins. 8, I need 8, 4, 8 pieces, okay. So I'm gonna put them all together. So I can put them on each other. So, okay. I mean, I'm doing it the classic way. You can also buy those wool pins. And then yeah, so now continue putting in wool pins. So put them like this here. Okay, well, we're done almost. Now let's see. Okay, well, of course, I have also to cut out here these edges. So I'm gonna do it with a saw, but there's also you can do it with a saw, or maybe with a grinder. I can also do it with a grinder. Well, if you're doing a lot of those boxes and you're using a grinder, I will definitely wear a mask. Okay, that's it. Like I've said, these edges are optional, you don't have to do it. Okay, well, that's the box now, you see. And now the next thing what we're going to do, we're going to make those clips, but we're going not to do the same with those pop needs. I already did a video where I showed how to do that. That was in the first valve box. This is the standing valve box, and for that I'm gonna take, of course, the circumference. So the circumference is here 960, see? So the black one counts, so 996. So that is what we're also going to cut out. So 96 here, there it is, 96. Okay, that's our set, and now we're going to do it different. The first time when we did it, we used those pop needs, and now we have a spot welder. So there's also a method to do it, and with a spot weld it is a lot quicker, of course, because once the spot welder is set up, you just hold it here by pressing it together. If you're not sure, you can do it a little bit. So that is also what's possible if you have a good spot welder. See? Now we're going to put on. Okay, good. Now we're going to look where we're going to put it. I'm going to put it here or here. I mean, it can also be put in the front. So normally we put it in the radius. That is also what we're going to do. We're going to put it here in the radius. I'm going to move this a little bit to the side. So see. See, I cut it the exact size, and you still have a little bit space on the clip to pull on it. See? Okay, next one. Now the next one you just copy over, put it side by side. Once you have the first angle, see? Okay, I'm gonna correct here. So now I'm gonna put the other half of the lock on it. You can do it like this or like this. I like to do it like this. Yeah. And then I turn this one backwards. Now cut it off. That's it. Oh yeah, before I forget, it's also good to have a little rounding in it. A little bit, see. Yep, all sides. Well, okay guys, that was the valve box for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned and enjoyed the video. I know sometimes it's too long, but better show more than less, so you can choose for yourself what you think for you is the best way to do it. Or maybe there are better ways. Of course, there are always better ways, but these are just, like I've said, 2 examples, 2 boxes. The only example is a little bit here with the overlap there. I show you how to make the wool pins. Okay guys, thank you for watching. See you next time.